President Lee Jae-myung presided over a cabinet meeting this morning and thanked rival party lawmakers for passing next year's budget within the legal deadline. Following a massive data leak at e-commerce giant Coupang, a South Korean legal firm is now pursuing a class action suit in the United States, where the company is headquartered, seeking punitive damages under U.S. law. A powerful 7.5 magnitude earthquake hit the coast of Aomori Prefecture in northeastern Japan last night, prompting tsunami warnings. Around 90,000 residents were ordered to evacuate from affected areas. Hello and thanks for joining us on Arirang News. President Lee Jae-myung has thanked both the ruling and opposition parties for passing next year's budget within the legal deadline, marking the first on-year approval in 5 years. At a cabinet meeting this morning, President Lee said he hopes lawmakers will continue to rise above party lines and unite on issues that improve people's lives and serve national interests. Today, the cabinet is expected to approve the Lee administration's first annual budget, totaling 728 trillion Korean won, an 8.1% increase from this year. The National Assembly passed the proposal at a plenary session last week. And the recent data breach at e-commerce giant Coupang has now prompted a South Korean law firm to gear up for a legal battle in the United States. Coupang, a U.S.-listed company, could see a heavier punitive damage ruling in the U.S. compared to South Korea. Our Kim Do-yeon tells us more.
A South Korean law firm has officially announced plans to file a class action lawsuit against retail giant Coupang in a U.S. federal court after the company suffered a data breach that affected millions of customers. Daeryun, along with its U.S. branch SJKP, held a press conference in New York City on Monday local time, confirming they are recruiting plaintiffs to seek punitive damages. The firm said it has already secured over 200 plaintiffs and intends to pursue simultaneous litigation in both South Korea and the United States. Representatives also noted that some clients are demanding criminal charges in addition to civil compensation, adding that they aim to secure approximately 1,000 plaintiffs before formally submitting the complaint to the New York federal court. This legal action follows Coupang's announcement late last month that personal information of nearly 33.7 million user accounts, including names, emails, phone users, and addresses, had been compromised. The lawsuit targets Coupang Incorporated, the U.S.-listed parent company that owns 100% of the South Korean operation. The decision to litigate in the U.S. is driven by two primary factors. First, U.S. courts are more active in recognizing liability links between parent companies and subsidiaries compared to South Korea. There are also allegations that Coupang may have failed to comply with U.S. regulations requiring listed companies to disclose material cybersecurity incidents within 4 business days. Under the U.S. discovery process, courts can also compel the submission of relevant data regardless of where the servers are located. Second is the scope of punitive damages. The U.S. legal system allows for significantly higher financial penalties for data privacy violations, as seen in Facebook's $5 billion fine and Equifax's $700 million settlement. With the minimum requirement for a class action suit already met, the legal team plans to file the complaint immediately upon expanding its plaintiff list. Kim Do-yeon, Arirang News.
A powerful earthquake shook northeastern Japan late last night. It prompted tsunami warnings, which have now been lifted, and thousands of residents were ordered to evacuate the area. Our Lee Seung-jae has more.
A powerful earthquake, estimated at magnitude 7.5, struck off the coast of Aomori Prefecture in northeastern Japan late Monday night. The quake occurred around 11:15 p.m., shaking communities across the north of Japan's main island of Honshu. The Japan Meteorological Agency initially announced the magnitude as 7.2, then revised it to 7.6 before lowering it again to 7.5. The epicenter was at a depth of 54 kilometers. Officials confirmed that at least 23 people have been injured. One person is reported to be in serious condition. Officials also confirmed one residential fire. Authorities warned that the number of casualties and the extent of damage are likely to rise as daybreak allows for fuller assessments. Japan's Prime Minister Sanae Takaichi said the government is closely monitoring the damage.
I immediately instructed that timely and accurate information regarding tsunamis and evacuation be provided to the public, that measures to prevent damage, such as evacuation of residents, be fully implemented, that the extent of damage be ascertained as swiftly as possible.
About 90,000 residents were ordered to evacuate from Hokkaido, Aomori, and Iwate. Chief Cabinet Secretary Minoru Kihara said the government has activated a response office inside the Prime Minister's Crisis Management Center and convened an emergency team. He said authorities are making every effort to assess the damage and carry out emergency operations, including rescue and relief efforts. Several bullet train services along the northeastern coast have been suspended. Tohoku Electric Power reported no irregularities at the Higashidori or Onagawa nuclear power plants. Japanese authorities also told the International Atomic Energy Agency that no abnormalities were detected at the disabled Fukushima nuclear power station. Lee Seung-jae, Arirang News.
A senior Pentagon official has highlighted South Korea as the latest U.S. ally to meet Washington's new standard for defense spending, saying Asian partners must do more to secure regional stability. Undersecretary of War for Policy Elbridge Colby made the remarks Monday local time in a series of posts on X, commending Seoul's plan to raise its defense spending to 3.5% of GDP. Colby linked his comments to the new U.S. national security strategy unveiled last week, which reinforces President Donald Trump's America First principles and calls for significant increases in allied burden sharing. He noted South Korea is, quote, stepping up to meet this new global standard. Colby said ensuring stability in the Indo-Pacific will require Asian allies to do more for their own defense, particularly in the First Island chain, a key defense line stretching from Japan to the northern Philippines. In a break with the past, both the United States and China made no mention of the denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula in their recently unveiled defense policy papers. Our Kim Bo-young explains more.
Both the U.S. and China made no mention of North Korea nor its denuclearization in their recently released security manifestos. According to the South China Morning Post on Saturday, China's military white paper released in late November omitted the term denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Marking an update of a 2005 version, it said that China adopts an impartial stance and adheres to the right approach of working for peace and stability on the peninsula and the resolution of Korean Peninsula issues through political means, instead of mentioning how it supports the denuclearization of it. The new U.S. national security strategy released by the White House on Friday local time failed to mention denuclearization of the peninsula as well. In the document released during the former President Joe Biden administration in 2022, the NSS mentioned Pyongyang 3 times, saying it would pursue diplomacy for the complete denuclearization of the peninsula while strengthening extended deterrence. The one released in 2017 from Trump's first administration also mentioned North Korea 17 times, saying the U.S. would work with allies and partners to achieve CVID of the peninsula. The omissions have raised concerns, with some viewing it as the peninsula issue being deprioritized by Washington. One expert says the importance of dealing with peninsula issue has been waning in the U.S. for some time, adding that there could be many more reasons.
Trump could think that the denuclearization issue could be a potential stumbling block to U.S.-North Korea summit diplomacy. Also, Trump is now looking for a grand bargain with China, not just on trade, tariffs, and economic issues, but also bringing nuclear controls and broader security concerns to the table.
Though acting U.S. Ambassador to South Korea Kevin Kim reaffirmed on Monday that Pyongyang's complete denuclearization remains a shared policy with the South, the expert says Trump could be considering peninsula issues as a pawn on a chessboard for him to bargain with China, though some hawkish traditional foreign policymakers who believe it is important to keep China in check might disagree with him. Now all eyes are on the National Defense Strategy that will be released based on the NSS to see whether it will mention peninsula issues. Kim Bo-kyung, Arirang News.
U.S. President Donald Trump has announced that Nvidia will be authorized to ship its H200 AI chips to approved customers in China, provided that the U.S. government receives a 25% cut of the revenue. Writing on Truth Social on Monday local time, Trump stated that Chinese President Xi Jinping responded positively to the proposal, which aims to bolster American manufacturing and benefit taxpayers. The Trump administration says the same revenue-sharing approach will apply to other major American firms like AMD and Intel. This move follows an earlier agreement in August where chip makers consented to share 15% of China's sales, though Beijing had previously warned against using lower-grade chips. South Korean films are set for a strong showing at the Golden Globes, as director Park Chan-wook's thriller No Other Choice and Netflix animated hit K-pop Demon Hunters each earned 3 nominations. The Golden Globes on Monday announced nominees across 28 categories for the 83rd ceremony, which airs January 11th. No Other Choice is up for Best Motion Picture in Musical or Comedy and Best Non-English Language Film. Lead actor Lee Byung-hun is also nominated for Best Male Performance in a Musical or Comedy Film. K-pop Demon Hunters is nominated for Best Animated Motion Picture. It also earned nominations for Cinematic and Box Office Achievement, as well as for Best Original Song. Korean-American astronaut Jonny Kim is on his way back to Earth after completing a 245-day mission aboard the International Space Station. Kim is set to land in Kazakhstan on Tuesday at just after 2 p.m. Korean time. Kim arrived at the ISS in April and spent 8 months conducting a wide range of NASA science experiments in what was the first long-duration mission by a Korean heritage astronaut. During his stay, Kim circled Earth 3,920 times, traveling more than 167 million kilometers, and often shared glimpses of his Korean roots, even posting photos with gochujang on social media. In other news, 108 judges across South Korea gathered on Monday to discuss their views on the ruling bloc's push for judicial reform. As the regular session at the National Assembly heads towards its end, stakeholders continue to raise their opinions on the most contentious issues. Our political correspondent An Sung-jin reports.
As the ruling bloc continues to push for judicial reform, judges across the country gathered to discuss the matter. 108 judges out of the total of 126 attended the National Judges Representative Conference on Monday, either online or in person. This biannual meeting is composed of judges elected from courts of all levels and serves to garner opinions from frontline judges on the judicial administration and judicial independence. It also hopes to contribute to restoring trust in the judiciary and improving the judicial system.
Several important bills concerning the judicial system are currently under debate in the National Assembly, and their impact on the public will be significant. I believe it is our responsibility to explain the perspectives of the judges.
The 2 main agenda items were judicial reform and the changes to the appointment and evaluation of judges. The meeting also further discussed other items, including the composition of a judicial administration committee and the creation of a special court dedicated to insurrection. Earlier on the same day, the ruling Democratic Party and the main opposition People Power Party had spoken up regarding judicial reform as well.
The main focus of the December extraordinary session will be on the judicial reform bills and the proposal to establish a special court for insurrection cases. This session will be a moment for legislation aimed at improving people's livelihoods.
The DP rammed through the Special Insurrection Court and Judicial Distortion Bill in the Legislation and Judiciary Committee. Presidents of courts nationwide have raised strong concerns about the unconstitutionality.
As debates intensify both inside and outside the National Assembly, the path forward for judicial reform remains uncertain. Continued dialogue among judges, lawmakers, and the public will play a decisive role in shaping the final outcome. An Sung-jin, Arirang News.
This is The World Now, bringing you everything you need to know from around the globe. Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky met with UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer, French President Emmanuel Macron, and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz in London on Monday to discuss a revised peace plan drafted by Ukrainian and US officials last week. Zelensky said there was, quote, small progress made, but talks remain divided over territory in eastern Ukraine. He said Europe's counter-proposal will be ready on Tuesday, while the U.S. continues pushing Kiev to reach a settlement with Russia. At the same time, Russia said its forces have captured 2 villages in the east and south of Ukraine. In the U.S. on Monday, Paramount Skydance launched a direct $108.4 billion offer to buy Warner Bros. Discovery, aiming to surpass Netflix's separate plan to acquire the company's studio and streaming network. Paramount said its $30 per share proposal delivers more cash and a higher chance of regulatory approval. Warner Bros., which named Netflix the preferred bidder on Friday, said it will review Paramount's new offer and respond within 10 business days. At the same time, President Donald Trump said the Netflix-Warner deal, quote, could be a problem due to market share, but later said he needed to review the numbers. He also said he will be involved in the federal approval process. In the U.S. on Monday, Alina Habba resigned as New Jersey's acting top federal prosecutor 1 week after a U.S. appeals court ruled she had been unlawfully serving as U.S. attorney for the state. Attorney General Pam Bondi accepted the resignation and said the ruling made it impossible for Habba to continue in the role. The court found that Habba's appointment by U.S. President Donald Trump bypassed required Senate confirmation and likely affected multiple criminal cases in the state. Habba will remain at the Justice Department as a senior advisor and plans to seek further review of the decision. In the UK, Liverpool forward Mohamed Salah has accused the club of, quote, throwing him under the bus after being left out of the 3-3 Premier League draw at Leeds United, his 3rd straight match on the bench. Salah said he is being blamed for the team's drop in form this season. Manager Arne Slot said the decision was tactical and confirmed Salah has not traveled to Italy for Tuesday's Champions League match at Inter Milan. Salah leaves for the Africa Cup of Nations with Egypt on December the 15th. Chu Ji-hyun, Arirang News.
We had to dress warmer than yesterday for the morning commute. Temperatures were 3 to 4 degrees lower than yesterday, so many regions saw sub-zero temperatures this morning. However, highs will go up as high as yesterday, staying above seasonal norms overall. Meanwhile, East Coast regions remain under dry weather alerts. With effective humidity going below 25%, several regions are under dry weather warnings. So please be extra careful with open flames during outdoor activities. And this afternoon, daytime highs will be getting up to 8 degrees Celsius here in the capital. Daegu, Gwangju topping out at 10 degrees under sunny skies nationwide with decent air quality. This week brings typical early winter weather without severe cold, with a mix of rain and snow expected on Thursday and Saturday.
That's all we have for today's noon edition of Arirang News. Thank you for watching. We'll be back at 5 p.m. Korea time. Stay tuned.